Hi, it's Chef Rick, and today I'm making a lasagna. So here we go. It's a bit of a long video today, but there's quite a few different techniques and hopefully a few things that you can learn and enjoy, so bear with me. We're going to start by making the pasta for the lasagna sheet. So it's type 00 flour. I put a little well in it like that with the back of a ladle, and I put 2 eggs into the middle of that. Now if you ever see people like Jamie Oliver or whatever else cooking this, they'll do it on a work surface and they make the well in the middle, and I think it's so messy. I think why not just use a bowl? It's not exactly cheating using a bowl. Use 100 grams of flour for every egg, so there's 2 eggs, 200 grams of flour, some salt and olive oil. And then all you do is just work it round, keep bringing it into the middle over and over again with your fingers. Again, you could probably use a wooden spoon. I would use a small wooden spoon for this. But it becomes quite a dry dough, so it will come off your fingers easily. You're not just going to get really messy. So I definitely recommend using your fingers, as I always do in these things, because you get a feel for what you're doing. And you'll feel it all coming together, and your hands are, the best gadget in the kitchen. So you can see all I'm doing is just bringing it all together. There's a bit of kneading of it there, but really I'm just making sure everything's combined. Everything's going to come off the side of the bowl. Okay, so that's the dough. Now I am going to knead it a little bit on the work surface or on my chopping board here. Just work it so it's all nice and combined. You feel it getting really smooth. You see it getting smooth. You see it start to get shinier, and you can tell it's all coming together. The cracked edges start to form into one. It feels more. It feels tighter in your hands, but it feels nicer to roll and nicer to push. Again, just collect any of those bits. Here we go. Now watch this. Watch me just giving it maybe a bit too much.
Investigators soon learn.
Bang. So fix the chopping board, reset the lights, and this time just calm myself down and just keep rolling it, keep working it. But you can see at this point I'm pretty much done anyway. It's a lovely smooth pasta dough. The colour has come from the fact that we use good quality eggs, bright orange yolks, and a little olive oil. The olive oil makes it easy to work. This bit is, apparently they don't do it in Italy. This is, I would wrap it in cling film and put it in the fridge. You put it in the fridge minimum half an hour, but basically until you're ready to roll it. Apparently in Italy they don't do this. It's like you just get on with it and roll it straight away. But by putting it in the fridge and just giving it time to chill, it just makes it a little bit easier to roll. So now we're going to go on to the ragu. A ragu is what us in England would probably just call a bolognese. It's going to be the meat sauce for the lasagna, but you could also put this on spaghetti or pasta or anything you like. So I'm just going to show you how I would do mine. All of my sort of Italian dishes like this start with the 3 main ingredients, which is carrot, celery and onion. And you want to chop your carrots nice and uniformly. So first thing I'll do, lengthways, and then down each length like that. That's called julienne. So you could serve those julienne style, or just take your time and then work along each of your carrot sticks or your julienne carrots to create really nice small squares like that. The onion and the celery kind of tend to melt a little bit. The carrot seems to take a little longer to cook, so I think the smaller you do it, and this is all prep. This takes ages, but it's going to be worth it. Here's your celery. Just chop off the ends of your celery sticks, and just like with the carrots, again the first thing I would do is probably cut them into sticks like this, and then go lengthways. And then once you've gone lengthways, just like we did with the carrots, they're celery sticks. Obviously, you can dip those in hummus, or give them to your kids or whatever you want, or just enjoy them yourself. And then go down the sticks. And that's going to get you nice small pieces of celery. These ones don't need to be in perfect cubes, because as I say, it kind of goes very, very soft and almost melts into the sauce. How to chop an onion. I was going to do this as a separate video, but I thought it's a bit of a cop out. Chop the top off an onion, keeping the root bit, see the top bit, the root bit completely intact. You can cut halfway through the root, but you've not actually chopped the root off, and this is going to stop any of the gases coming out and stop you crying as you do it. So that's, I'll then peel off the outside layer. What you're going to do now is not chop all the way through the onion, but you're just going to slice down as you work across. And you can see the onion staying together because I haven't chopped all the way through. Do that as close as you can. Now watch this bit. In a minute I'll slow it down deliberately to show you how I do the last chop. So I slow this last chop down here. Now before I chop in, I just carve it slightly. Watch, go back and forward, just to make sure I'm into the onion. Now I'm in and I can chop down. Because if you just chop down, chances are it's going to just slide off and go into your thumb. So yeah, always use those last couple of cuts and start to kind of put a little groove in them first. Now we go sideways into the onion. Dead slow. Keep moving your fingers out of the way of where that knife is going to go. So stop, move your fingers, and keep going. Just don't rush it. And once you've done that, you've had your onion chopped both ways. All you have to do is slice down the sides, and you'll get nicely chopped onion, very finely diced. Again, this is going to help it melt into the sauce, and that's how you chop an onion. There you go. You get a lovely fine diced onion. If you then wanted to mince the onion, you'd chop the diced onion up, but that's it. That's what they call the Holy Trinity in Italy. That's your carrot, celery and onion, which is going to be the base for our ragu. Garlic as well. Just want to finely chop garlic, so here's how I would always do it. I'll just crush it with the back of a knife and then just work my way over it over and over and over again, as many times as you like. Slide them off the knife with your fingers. I spotted the fact that I slide a lot of things off a knife like this, so I think in a moment the video pauses so I can explain a little bit more about what I'm doing there. Right, my finger is nowhere near the blade. I'm touching the middle of that knife and swiping downwards towards the blade. If you just run your finger along the blade of a knife, I don't need to tell you what's going to happen. So when you're doing things like this, wipe downwards towards the blade. And never across the blade or up. So just a very obvious tip, but a bit of a top tip. I've learnt that one the hard way. So yeah, as you're cutting things, you will always get stuff on the side of the knife. And like I say, whenever you see me doing this in future, you'll spot that I'm not actually rubbing the blade at all. I'm rubbing the middle of the knife or down towards the blade. Watch, like down towards the blade. See? But never touching the blade. That's just some chopped garlic. And onto the stove. So the biggest pan you've got, extra virgin olive oil in there. Add your carrots. This is probably on a medium to low heat. Carrots, celery and onion. And then you're going to fry those in the onion on a fairly low heat. This is called sweating them out. The onions and the celery, they're going to soften immediately, but those carrots can be quite hard. So do this for a while. Do this for maybe 10-15 minutes or so before we add any of the wet ingredients, just to make sure those carrots are nice and soft. You can see they're cooking down nicely now. Obviously there's going to be plenty of steam coming off, as we always say. The smell's going to be fantastic. Just keep shuffling that around. In goes the garlic. Don't put the garlic in right at the beginning because garlic can burn. Put that in as close to the point of you adding the wet ingredients as possible, but stir it around so it covers everything. And then in with the meat. So we've got minced beef and minced pork. So I pointed at them there. I knew I was going to say this over the voiceover. Clever, wasn't it? So that goes in, and that goes in very shortly, as I said, after the garlic. Now what you want to do is brown off that meat before any of the wet ingredients go in there. So make sure the meat is touching as much of the pan as possible. And then leave it to brown for 2 or 3 minutes. Then go back to it, which we'll do in a second. I'll take this opportunity to ask you for the first of our 2 times if you can please like this video. If you like it of course, click like, and also if you can click subscribe at the bottom. It's completely free for you, but it really helps me. So yeah, that's the first of 2 times I'm going to ask you to do that. We've gone back to it here, and you can see I've moved the meat's browned for 5 minutes. Let's add another 5 minutes, and I've come back to it again, and I'm just making sure that any of those pink bits are touching the edge of the pan for the browning, you see, and they're all mixed in with the veg as well, so you're just constantly imparting flavour at this point, and it's just gorgeous. Well, the smell is gorgeous, should I say. All the meat is brown, so now I'm putting in this I'm using half a bottle of red wine, good quality red wine. If you want to know if you've poured half a bottle, hold the bottle halfway, like hold it horizontally, and once it stops pouring out, that's half the wine has gone. So yeah, half a bottle of good quality red wine. Then I leave that to cook for maybe 5 minutes. I don't want to burn off all the alcohol, but now in there goes 2 cans of chopped tomatoes, squeeze of tomato puree or tomato paste, a sprinkling of pre-mixed Italian herbs, that's basil, parsley, thyme, 2 of these stock pots, these jelly stock pots. Back in the day, obviously, you used to use stock cubes, or you could maybe use your own stock if you've got it there, but just for ease, these are amazing. They're the rich beef ones, the rich beef stock pots. I use here just a can and a half of water. Obviously, that was the can of tomatoes. I've just filled it with water for the sink. You could put 2 cans in there, it doesn't matter, because you're going to cook this for long enough that water is going to boil off and the sauce is going to thicken, but I just put 1.5 in for this. It doesn't matter if you did 1.5, 2. And that's your... pretty much is going to be the sauce. Don't worry, that's not the sauce yet. That's got hours on the stove. I will probably let it have the first hour or so with a lid on there. It stays hotter when there's a lid in there, and it stops the steam escaping, so it doesn't thicken too quick, because like we always say, that steam that's escaping is water, and water escaping a sauce is thickening the sauce, so you don't want that to thicken too quickly. So yeah, I might let it have the first hour or 2 on a low to medium heat with a lid on. It's only when I'm getting to that point thinking to myself, right, do you know what, I want this sauce ready in the next couple of hours, that I will take the lid off. But at this point, it's been cooking for a while. I'm not going to keep going back and showing you back and forth. But what we are going to do is make the white sauce, or the bechamel layer, for our lasagna. So in that small saucepan, I've just put some whole milk and half an onion. Sorry, a whole onion chopped into 2, a load of black peppercorns, and that is on the lowest possible heat. Probably left it on that low heat for about an hour or so. All that's happening is the onion and peppercorns are imparting some flavour into the milk. Now, again on a medium heat, I've put a saucepan with butter and some flour, and we're making a roux. I don't know if I should have sped this bit up. You see, I'm just adding flour to the melted butter. Watch the consistency I'm going for. I want it to almost make like a very, very soft, almost like a Play-Doh, like come together as a single ball. See how I'm scraping it off? See how it's coming together? There you go. So it's coming together like an individual ball, like that. And that is just butter and flour. Now I'm going to take that milk that's been that's full of the flavour of onion and black pepper. You can put bay leaves, you can put garlic, you can put anything in there. I've just kept this super, super simple, just onions and black pepper. And now back to the pan, just because you've got the pan there and you want to keep this warm. A couple of peppercorns in there, so we just fish those out. Again, they're not really, doesn't really matter too much. And now we're going to add slowly that milk, very slowly. You can always add more. Don't forget, you can't take it out to that butter and flour ball, or what we'll call a roux ball. I don't know if I've made that up, roux ball, but it is what it is. And then I'll use a whisk slowly at first, just because you're going to get it splashed everywhere. But now, as it starts to combine and thicken, and it will thicken to like a super, super thick paste, which is why you want to have that milk on the side that you just keep adding to it until it gets to around about a consistency that you want. Now I add some cheese, just some grated cheddar cheese. Mix that in. Cheese, when added to a bechamel or a white sauce, or any sauce really, thickens it. Can you see there that the ragu, the bolognese if you like, on the right is just slowly boiling away. Just keep adding our milk to this until it gets to the consistency that you like. As you're leaving it, as it's cooking, it's just getting thicker and thicker. So that milk helps it thin, but it will get to a point where kind of can't get any thicker, and that milk starts to make it watery, and you don't want that. You don't want a really runny bechamel. So as I said at the beginning, you can always add more, you can't take it out. What did I put in there then? Oh, some white pepper, just a little pinch of salt. Doesn't need to be too salty, this, it's obviously got the cheese in there as well, but it's getting to the consistency that I want, so I just add white pepper to it. I started to add white pepper just because I didn't like the discoloration that black pepper gave it, but now I think the white pepper just, I would always use it in a bechamel, it just works perfectly. That bechamel is at the thickness I want, so I've put it over on the side, and I've also taken the ragu off the heat. So now I've got the ragu or bolognese and the white sauce or the bechamel both on the side, cooling, because you want them cool when we're making the lasagna. And now we're going to make the pasta sheets. So there's the pasta ball that's been in the fridge for ages. Feels just lovely to play with. The texture is really, really nice. But what I'm going to do is take off a chunk and put it into a pasta machine. This pasta machine is probably my most used kitchen gadget. It's the first time you ever do it, you struggle, and I promise you the second time you're an expert, and I've taught everyone how to use it who's come around, and then they all love it, and everyone's a specialist as you go. You start on the thickest setting, and you run your pasta through it one time, fold the pasta over itself, and then put it back through again on that same setting. And that's the only time you do this. You only do that once, and then after that, excuse me, you put it down to the next setting, as it kind of the thinner setting if you like, and run the pasta through it again. Then onto the thinner setting, run the pasta through it again. Then onto the thinner setting, and again and again, until you're on the thinnest setting. And that's it. I always keep some flour on the work surface, but you kind of don't want to over flour it, but it just makes it so much easier to handle. I've seen people where they feed it back into it again. There you go, look at that. Beautiful thin sheets. I haven't got a proper hanger, so I then hang that on a cupboard door or on a work surface. Do that with all the pasta. Chop it into sort of even pieces, and then, like I say, I'll hang that on a cupboard door somewhere. Now we're going to arrange the lasagna. So we're going to start with a layer of the ragu or the bolognese. This video's gone pretty quick actually, I've not stopped talking, so I'll take this time just to say please like and subscribe if you like my videos, I really do appreciate it. A layer of the homemade pasta. This can be as rustic as you like, don't worry at all. See how I'm just filling in the gaps, no one is going to care or notice when this is sliced up. So a layer of the fresh pasta over the first layer of ragu. Now the bechamel, a layer of bechamel, the white sauce. Over the top of the pasta. Some grated mozzarella. And then you do the whole thing again. So you layer it as many times as your pan can fit. So now another layer of the ragu. More of the pasta. Bechamel. Some mozzarella cheese on top. A little bit of Parmesan cheese on top as well. That's some Parmesan. And then into the oven it goes. And there you go. Lasagna. You don't serve that on the day. Well, you do, obviously, because you're all hungry. You really want to have it the next day. That's when it's at its absolute best and it's had time to find itself. Thank you so much for watching the video. You know how much I really appreciate these. Don't forget, click like, click subscribe if you do like them. If you do want to subscribe. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.